Hey everyone, welcome to the Sackhoff Show. I am your host, Katee Sackhoff. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it, and I am so excited, as usual, about today's guests. Before we get there, I want to remind you all about the Patreon. Yes, the Patreon. There are so many people over there really loving it, and there are wonderful perks already there and some good ones coming. So make sure you go check that out at patreon.com/The Sackhoff Show. I want to let all of you know where I'm going to be in the next little bit. I have 2 conventions coming up in the beginning of August that I want to share with you. One is Rebel Scum Convention, and that is rebelscumconventions.com. You can go and you can get your tickets there. I'm there Saturday and Sunday. We are doing a live recording with Emily Swallow on Sunday at noon. So make sure you get your tickets for that. And then I am also going to be at Colorado Springs Comic-Con right after that, the weekend of the 15th. So come out and see us there. Now, also stick around for the Hindsight, where we discuss the guests, but also we talk about life. We talk about our lives. We talk about things going on. So make sure you check that out in the Hindsight right after the episode. Today's guest is someone that I truly, truly love. I grew up really loving this actor. And the fact that I was sitting talking to him, sort of like my mind is still blown. I am talking about none other than the one and only Steve Guttenberg. If you don't know who Steve is, he literally dominated the box office in the 80s and 90s. I mean, he was in 4 movies, like back to back to back, I think at the same time in theaters. Like, it's just, I can't even comprehend how crazy that was to experience. He was in Police Academy. He was in Cocoon, 3 Men and a Baby, Short Circuit, Veronica Mars. I mean, he was in so many of the movies that I'm assuming so many of you grew up watching, that I know that you'll love this episode. We talk about what it was like going through that huge boom in his career, what it's been like since. We talk about navigating positivity in his life in the midst of some pretty big tragedies that we can all identify with. He wrote a wonderful book dedicated to his father, really, I think, during the time that he was his father's caregiver. And we talk a bit about that as well, but it's really extraordinary. I think you're going to love this episode. And I walked away from this feeling like I'd made a very close new friend. And I feel like a better person because of it. So I hope you feel the same way. And I'm just going to get out of your way so you can enjoy the truly beautiful human being, Steve Guttenberg. Hi.
Hi, so nice to meet you, even though it's screen to screen.
Oh my gosh, it's so nice to meet you. How did the movie go that you were promoting last week? I know you were super excited about it.
So excited about it. It's one of the best projects I've done in so long. And I very rarely say that something's really good because most of the time they're okay. And usually I just say, it's okay. It was good. It was good work. We missed the mark, but we did great. And I'm really glad I did it. Whereas this one, I am so excited about it. It was a chance to play a really psychologically complicated character and change my look, which is always fun. And almost 2 hours a day in makeup. And Lifetime has been so terrific to me. I did one picture for them a few years ago called "How to Murder Your Husband." Don't get any ideas.
Send me the list. I don't need it now, but you never know.
You never know. It's good to have. And they were terrific. And I worked with Sybil Shepherd, so most of the attention was on Sybil. She's sort of a method actor and needs to do her thing. So I really just sort of went along with whatever was going on because I love her and I love Lifetime, and I just wanted to make it so easy. And she was great in the picture. And then on this particular film, I asked Lifetime and I asked the producer and director to give me a little chance to create a look and posture and a walk and clothing and all kinds of stuff. And they went, sure, give it a try. Huh. So we did a bunch of makeup tests, wardrobe tests, and they loved it. And they said, go ahead, do it. Great. We'll see you later. So I was able to create the character that I wanted. It's a true story. So it's about someone who's incredibly heinous and one of the lowest forms of life. So the research on that was just disgusting.
Yeah. I
would work for about an hour and a half and then have to sort of clean out. And my clean out was Seinfeld. You know, I'd watch a half hour of Jerry's show and then I was fine. And I go back to work. But the filming was really fun because Janet Kramer and Rachel Stubington and our director, Marty, and producers, the Tinnell brothers were great. Lifetime was terrific. And it turned out really good. And the character, I'm really proud of my work. It was good. It was good. And I don't often say it.
Yeah. Well, how does the criteria change as you go through your career? I mean, you've been doing this now for so many years. I mean, what is it? 40, at least 50?
Next year, June 27th, will be my 50th year of being a professional film and television and actor. I was a professional theater actor before that. I did get paid for doing theater before I was 17. So I think I was professional before that. But
wow.
So yeah, 50 years. And my parents let me come out to Hollywood when I was 17. Are you kidding me? I mean, who would do that today?
Mine did the same thing.
Oh, so you get it. Wow. Where did you come from?
From Oregon. So I was, a hop, skip, and a jump if I needed my parents. But my parents, I at the time didn't think anything of it. Now I look back and go, what were you thinking?
Yeah. We really do have an unusual profession, our chosen profession. But if you're dedicated to the craft of it, then the business side is separate.
Yeah.
That you really want to paint a beautiful painting. Now, to get it in a gallery, you may have to take somebody out to dinner, but you and in your palette, you can do on your canvas what you want. And that's, I think what professional actors who actually last, do that. You really are. Even though if you're known as Bozo, the clown, and that's your biggest credit, that you're Bozo, but in your training, you did Lear and Willy Loman, and you worked on the classics, but just happened to be you looked great in a red nose and a big fright wig, and you got Bozo. Mm-hmm. But so many of us get characterized, which you should. John Wayne was characterized as a cowboy or a tough guy in the army. That was it. Maybe, and in A Quiet Man, John Ford, I suppose, put him in that and knew that he could do the job, but he was still sort of a tough guy in that. Yeah. But you get recognized for what you sort of look like or you sort of fit into. But I think that if you're going to have a career that lasts, you can't climb the ladder by doing favors for somebody. No. It just won't happen.
So how is it that you managed to, because I want to go back to like the 80s and 90s, because one of the reasons why I jumped at the opportunity to talk to you, Steve, because like
Oh, thanks,
You
Katee.
are, number one, you're incredibly talented. I love your social media in the sense that you're so flipping positive all the time. But
Thanks.
you had, I mean, I just want to remind people that are listening, you had like 4 movies at the box office at the same time in like 1987 or something. Like, I mean, you had some of the biggest successful movies of the 80s and 90s ever. And how is it that you've managed to stay so grounded and so positive and so, you've been doing this for 50 years. How have you stayed Steve?
I had some of the biggest bombs.
That's how you stayed Steve.
Like 1 week, the movie opens at 30 million and the next week your movie opens at 30 cents. Whoa. Ouch.
Our business can be sobering.
Oh my God. I think that basically it's the people that I surround myself with, or that are kind enough to surround me. My family, my mom and dad were and are, my dad passed 3 years ago, but they were always teaching me at the kitchen table. And all those lessons I learned at the kitchen table, like my dad used to say, you can run for the bus screaming and yelling and worried, oh my God, am I going to make the bus? Can I make the bus? Oh my God, I'm late. I'll never get there. I'll be late for class. Or you can run for the bus and just run. And you don't have to be worrying and screaming and crying, and you just run for the bus. So all these lessons I learned at their kitchen table, I'm able to use in boardrooms and audition rooms and sets and the Oval Office and, wherever I am that is perhaps configured as sophisticated and complicated. The things I learned at my parents' kitchen table carried me through, and then also taught me how to learn new things. The people that I love and care about all my life have been rooting me on, but giving me perspective in a great way. Not putting down like, okay, you had a #1 movie last week. You're not so great. They never did that. But they sort of said, wow, you have the #1 movie. This is so terrific. This is great. Can you pass the broccoli? So there's, a grounding of, as you said, a reality that, what you did was important and has resonance and, gets you a front seat at the theater. But we still need to mow the lawn and take out the garbage and take your mom and dad to the doctor and show up for a dinner party at your friend's house where you're not the most important person there. And not in career-wise, but like it's Aunt Sally's birthday and she's the real important person there. So it's about perspective. And, what we do, the craft is an important craft. It's an art, and it's one to be honed and learn your skills and respect it. But frankly, what we do is not that important. It's very effective. We entertain and we educate, but we're not all that. We're actors, and we're here to put on a show and maybe teach and, as I said, entertain. But nobody's really that big a deal. I mean, that great Bob Dylan song, "We All Have to Serve Somebody," we serve the president, and the president has to serve the people, and the Pope has to serve God. None of us are really all that. And my dad was a big Gore Vidal fan, and I worked for a producer that was renting Gore Vidal's house. Gore Vidal happened to be there. And he said to my dad, we live in the United States of amnesia, that no matter who you are, people forget.
Yeah.
Like, who's Humphrey Bogart? Well, he was the number one human being on earth for a while. Wherever Humphrey Bogart went, people fainted.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not that important now. Nobody's that important now.
No.
You know, in 20 minutes, everybody's gone. You know, look around. Everywhere you look right now, in 100 years, everybody is going to be gone. You know, and very few things last. So I guess in a long-winded way, I think it's nice to sort of talk it out a little bit that I don't think I'm that important. I think that I'm one of a community, my family, my friends, my town, my city, my state, my country, my planet. And if I can do something and make a little difference by having an enormously entertaining product or help someone across the street, they're both great. And they probably both will be forgotten. But
how do you not find that? Because I agree with you. I agree with you in so many ways. I find that the idea of the knowledge and the acknowledgement of that everyone around you will be gone in 100 years so incredibly depressing that I find it at times debilitating, and it brings me fear. This sort of like, well, if it means nothing, then like, okay, it means nothing. And then I have to stop myself and go, no, but it means something to the people that are here.
Yeah.
And it's hard. So I guess, is that why your social media is so incredibly positive? Because so many people I know follow you on social media.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Wow, that's great. Well, first of all, you're right in how it goes. So if you look around and you think, well, most of the day we're thinking how important everything is. You know, God, how long is this DMV line going to be? I mean, I've got stuff there. I mean, God, you know, oh, I need my sandwich now, or it's so important that we get the pool cleaned now, or whatever that is. How long am I going to be on hold? I mean, but then when you think about that powerful statement that in 100 years, all this is going to be gone and nothing's going to matter. Yeah. You take a pause and you go, wow, none of this really matters. And you know what happens? It morphs into, and I'm sure it happens to you consciously or subconsciously, that, okay, so I'm late for the train. It doesn't really matter because the next train's coming. Okay, I burned the steak. Okay, well, let's look in the freezer, see what else we got, and I'll cook that. I made a mistake. I forgot to pick you up, or I said the wrong thing, or whatever it is. It's not that big a deal. Oh my God. I said her name is Alice and I called her Sally. It's not that big a deal. It's okay. You forgot. You made a mistake. Nothing's really that big a deal. What's big a deal is a doctor replacing a lung. And it's a 12-hour operation. He needs not to be disturbed. That's a big deal. Because then that person's going to live and have another lung. There are certain things, they are, the pilot that's piloting the plane, he can't just have like 10 drinks, and it really matters that he's sober and flying right and all that.
Hope.
We hope. But there's a freedom to it. So I think you're right in taking that moment and going like, well, what does it all matter? And then, one of your kids comes and says, I need, I just spilled milk on the carpet. Okay, we got to clean it up. That means something. And then all of a sudden, the day-to-day dealings of life, because it's your life and it's their life and it's your community's life and it's your family and your state and your city and your country and your world. It's their lives. My dad and my mom, very positive people. My mom made me memorize "If" by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. And it's a great poem. It's a very positive poem. At the end of the poem, it says, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. And it's all about dealing with life's disappointments and smiling. Okay, I got left back from 7th grade to 7th grade, and all my friends got to 8th. That sucks. It sucks. Okay, I'm going to make the best of it. And even if you don't believe it, you can say it. Yeah. So my mom also loved this song, Feeling Groovy by Simon and Garfunkel, which is this great song which she wanted us to memorize. Feeling groovy. And it's like this sort of like, that's how life should be. 80% of life should be happy. That's, by the way, the effing rule. Not 80% is crappy. No. God made us to be like, we were born happy. Like we didn't know that we're not that good looking, or we're not that tall, or we're not as smart as the other guy, or not as rich as the other guy. We didn't know any of that. We're sort of born like, yeah, screaming and like, I'm here. Yeah. And so 80% of life should be happy. 20% is not going to be happy. There's going to be real tragedy in our lives. And that sucks. And that's hard to live with. So what happened was my dad was in the hospital. And during the day, I'd come out and get a cup of coffee. There were people around. At night, 3 a.m, I would come out of the hospital. There's nobody around. I'd sit there, have a cup of coffee by myself, lonely. A friend of mine said, you know what? Talk into the machine, into the internet. People will talk back. I'm like, okay. So I tried it one night, and people started writing me. Hey, I'm taking care of my mom. I know what it's like to be 3 in the morning. Hey, my baby's up at 3 in the morning. I know what it's like to be up. Hey, my kid is sick. I'm taking care of it. So I started doing this Twitter, I think at first, and then Instagram, where I would sort of talk and sort of see if anybody feels how I feel. Do you ever feel like you have a lot of friends and a lot of family who love you, but you feel really lonely? Do you feel like sort of having like a pity party? And do you want to do that? Is that weird? What do you guys think? Or do you ever feel like today's great? Like a rabbi, my dad and I had this rabbi friend who said, sometimes you have to take the good with the good. Yeah. Sometimes it's really good. Yeah. Sometimes life is really good. Sometimes you pick all the right numbers. Yeah. And celebrate that, man, and have a good time. And then there are times when it's not so great. And I always want to connect with people and say, do you feel how I feel? Like, I look around and go, my house isn't that nice. That guy's house is bigger. I'm not that tall. He's taller. And then, how do you deal with that? And then I go, do you guys just have to go, screw it. I'm not playing that game, brother. I'm not playing that game. I'm not playing the, compare and despair game. No. I like my house. I like my feet. My socks are great, you know?
Yeah.
So so now I kind of do it when I think of something and it comes out positively, but it can come out. My sister always says, you seem like you're depressed on some of your statements. I'm like, I'm not depressed. I'm just sort of real. I want to be real and take a chance that won't ruin my career by being, not like a macho or tough guy, that I'll still work and I'll still get great jobs. So I really try in life to be that guy that Dennis Leary said that he hates. And I talked to Dennis about this. Dennis said he was eating breakfast with Sean Penn, and they were talking about like Shiny Happy People, this song by REM, Michael Stipe. Yeah. And they're like, we hate shiny fucking happy people. I hate them. I fucking hate them. And Sean's like, I hate them too. And I told Dennis this because my sister told me this story. And then he said, Michael Stipe walked in to the restaurant and they're like, oh no, he knows that I hate that song and everything. And Michael Stipe came over to the table and gave them a matchbook. and then walked away like angry looking. And Dennis Leary's like, oh my God, I said bad things about this guy's song and Shiny Happy People and everything. And he opened up the matchbook and it said, I hate Shiny Happy People too. And I've heard a lot of guys like say to me, oh, you're fucking so positive. But you know what? This is what I choose to do.
Yeah.
It's how I can live my life. If someone says, oh, it's so hot out, I go, well, I kind of like the heat. It's kind of good in a way.
Yeah.
I try to turn it around. I need to. It's something I need to do.
This episode is brought to you by Rougiette. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. Looking for something beyond the usual pill? Meet Rougiette Ready. Other companies rely on similar ingredients to support blood flow, but Rougiette Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to help amplify arousal in the brain and increase blood flow. If the usual pills still aren't doing the trick, Rougiette Ready could be the answer. Its 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue to absorb fast, so you'll be ready in just 15 minutes on average, not hours, and the effects can last up to 36 hours. That means you can stay confident, present, and in control when the moment is right. You want proof? Over 150,000 men have made the switch, and you can read their customer reviews right on the site. Getting started is simple. Rougiette connects you with a board-certified doctor 100% online, and if prescribed, your treatment ships quickly to your door. Connect with a provider at rougiette.com/Sackhoff to see if Rougiette Ready prescription is right for you. You can use code Sackhoff to get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/Sackhoff and use promo code Sackhoff to get 15% off today. Head to rougiette.com/Sackhoff and use code Sackhoff to get 15% off today. Use the code to support the show, and so Rougiette knows we sent you. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, and manufacturing review. Please visit the Rougiette website for full safety information. Yeah, I learned a long time ago. A lot of people say that to me all the time. Why are you so happy? And I always say it's a choice. It's a choice. I have a choice every single morning how I'm going to attack my day. And I've had some really shitty things happen to me and my daughter. Watching my daughter go through her treatment, I have seen some really shitty things. Try making yourself happy through that, faking it, and then all of a sudden you realizing you are happy. You can laugh in tragedy. They're not mutually exclusive. You're allowed to be happy when the world is falling. Yes. You know, it's okay. And so I find myself sometimes being obnoxiously happy and people are like, I hate you. Well, you know, okay.
This is your toolbox. And can I ask about your daughter?
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to talk to you about that actually, because your book was the time to Thank was all about caregiving for your father. And it spoke to me so much, whilst very different, because I do know what it's like to be taking care of someone that's sick. It's hard. It's really hard. It's hard. But so I wanted to know a little bit about your book and where that came from and have that discussion if you're open to that.
Yeah. I started writing the book with my dad. My dad had renal failure, so he was in dialysis all the time. So I started writing it while he was alive, because I wanted other caregivers to know that they're not alone, because it's a very lonely job. So you take care of your daughter, and sometimes it's just you and her in a room, and she's, I'm supposing, uncomfortable, and it's just you and her.
Yeah.
And she's looking at you, and you're like, my dad would look at me, or my mom right now is not well, and it's like, oh my God, you feel their pain. Their pain is your pain. But you have got to be like, and they're like, oh, I'm like, really having a hard time. You're like, I know. We're going to do it. We're going to get through it. And so I wrote that book to tell other caregivers, you're not alone. That, because a lot of jobs, you're doing it with other people. But caregiving, it's just you and them. And you have got to be so nimble. What do they want? Do they need ice? Do they need a cold drink? Do they need to go to sleep? Do they need their feet rubbed? Do they need a pillow under their head? What do you need? What do you need? And you eat when they eat, and you sleep when they sleep. So if they're up all night, you're up all night. So if they sleep at 3 p.m, you have to sleep at 3 p.m. with one eye open, waiting for them to, because you want to be there for their every need. So I did start to write that book, and I didn't expect my dad to pass. And then before the book was finished, my dad passed. And so I finished the book. But so that's where it came from. And then also it was about that people help you live your life and make your life better. So it's always time to thank. Always to say to someone in your life, hey, thanks for being my friend. I really love you. Oh, what are you saying that for, man? I go, I just want to tell you that. I love you. I love you too. Okay. Hey, to my mom. Hey, Mom, I love you. I really love you, Mom. I love you too. I love you, Mom. I'm really glad you're my mom. And sometimes, and often, we forget to say these really cool things that's what it's about. Like to say to somebody, you're a great piano teacher. And I'm really appreciative that you're choosing to teach me. Oh my God, you hired me. What can I do? I know, but still, you show up and you teach me to play the piano, and I really appreciate you. So that's where that actually, the title was originally Time to Think, where I was driving across the desert every week. And my friend said, a guy named Al Siegel, who's a very smart guy, said to me, time to thank, because that's what you're doing. You're driving there because thank you, Dad, for being my dad. Thank you for teaching me how to eat with a spoon and to drive a bike and how to talk to a president of the United States and how to be a good person. Thanks, Dad. I want to do anything for you now because you're having trouble standing up. I want to do anything I can because thank you, Dad. Thank you for giving me my life.
I wish that more people could do that in regards to their parents. And I'm not saying that it's always easy. And I'm not saying that everybody had a good parent that should have been a parent. So I that's not what I'm talking about. But I look at my parents, and I've always had the ability to look at them as just people, and that they're flawed, and it didn't come with a book, and they're both doing the best that they can. And they came into parenthood with their own life circumstances and experiences, which turned them into the parent that they were. And so I've always had the ability to look past their mistakes. And my brother and sister haven't, and that's a whole nother story. But our experiences with our parents have been very different because we are very different people as well. But I agree that I look past the flaws and look at the gifts in that. Thank you so much for giving me life, giving me the opportunity, letting me move to California when I did, letting me not have a job and just go to school so I could be an actor, like giving me those things that changed my life, never telling me that I couldn't do something. So I always thought that I could succeed. It never occurred to me that I couldn't succeed at this. Like my parents have always done that. So who cares if my dad used to say second place is the first loser. So what? Like, not the best advice, but you know what? He also believed in me so hard that he gave me my drive and my resiliency and my ambition and all of these things. So you can't take the bad without taking the good. You can't believe the good if you don't believe the bad. Like, it's just who people are, and I wish that more people could do that, because I find so many people blame their parents for everything that happened in their lives.
You're great. You're great, Katee. That is an incredibly enormous perspective, which is actually the right perspective. That's the godlike perspective of, like, they're human. They're human. Yes, he forgot to pick you up at ballet and you're standing there. He's human. Yeah, he said second place is, not. Yeah, he's human. He has these things in him, but he's a 90% great human and has 10% stuff. And we all have 10% or 20% of stuff that's not so great. But man, oh man, the fact that you have such a, you're like water, you come in, you go into the cup and you shape the cup, and you're not like, oh, I don't want to be in a cup. I want to be in a, in a big pitcher. No, like, the cup is great. And that is what we're supposed to do. And that's what the songs are all about. And the poetry is all about. And the sayings in these little books that you buy at the stationery store that say, all these little sayings that are supposed to teach you these things. Well, the fact that you have that in you, that's an incredible gift, because at the moment you have a choice. You could say, oh, Dad, F you saying that to me, it's really ruined me. Or your mind goes like, that's what he thinks. I don't agree with it, but that's my dad, and I'm going to move on. And there's so many other great things. It's not worth, going into this right now, because let him be who he is. That's just beautiful. That's really beautiful.
How do you, it feels like your part of your drive and your goal is to spread your positivity. Do you find that difficult? Is everyone receptive to that? How do you approach people that don't want your positivity?
It's disappointing to me.
Yeah.
And my feelings get hurt. Yeah. They do. They get hurt. But I'm better at it now. Now I'm like, okay, like, there are plenty of people who are like, oh God, shiny, happy people. Fuck you. And I've had, like, lots of people who won't hire me because I'm like that.
Really?
Yeah, like some really big shots who, like, the studio wanted me and everybody wanted me, and this director or whatever is like, no, I don't want to be around that all the time.
Like, he's just too happy?
Yeah, he's just too happy.
We're going to go hire the heroin addict over here.
Yeah, exactly. The complicated heroin actor, who thought his mother was his mother, but his mother was really his grandmother, and his mother was his sister, and
Yes.
and, like, it all screwed up. It just got out of, and really, like, crazy guy. But yeah, and actually I had one instance where a guy was sitting with a couple of other guys on an interview for, like, Rolling Stone or something, and out of nowhere they brought up me. And they're like, oh yeah, and they were going off on me. So my business manager called one of them and knew them and said, hey man, that was really rude. And this guy, who's a super big shot now, felt really bad and invited me over to his house for lunch. And I hung out with him, and he apologized and all that. And everybody actually, I think, wants to be happy, but it's a lot of effort to be happy sometimes. And sometimes it's better. Like, I walked into this years ago when I was younger. I walked into a friend of mine who was an actor's house, and his wife was a famous actress. And she was sitting at the table, like, looked like she hadn't slept, and she's smoking a cigarette. Like, hello. And I go, hi, how you doing? Yeah. Wow, your house is beautiful and unbelievable. Like, your dog is so cute. Yeah. And I'm like, and your husband's so great to work with. I really like him. He's a really great guy. She's like, yeah. And I could tell like she had wanted no part of my happy guy thing. But you want to know something, truth, Katee? I think it's a little selfish on my part because that's who I want to be. I want to be that happy guy. I want to be, and I kind of want the world to be, I live in reality, but I don't. I don't want to live in reality. Maybe that's why I'm an actor. That I want the possibility that something amazing could happen in 20 minutes. You know, we both get phone calls that Steven Spielberg wants us to be in his new movie, and we're going to be going to India and Japan and shooting and staying at the Four Seasons, and your whole family's invited, and private planes back and forth, and you're like, wow,
it's about time.
It's about time. But I think I do live in a little bit of non-reality, and I don't deal with certain hard things in reality that well. But I'm getting better at it. But yeah, you know, there were times when I've gone through some real tough things, and I've come in like with a happy thing, and like everybody's like, you know, like, we know you're faking it, and I'm like, I am, but I also kind of want to be a good guest, you know, to the world and to this room and to this house. So so there's a lot of people like doing like. There's a guy in New York at my gym who every time I come in and I go, hey, and I won't say his name. Hey, how you doing, man? He's like, good. And he avoids me like the plague. Like, he'll do anything to like act like he doesn't see me and all kinds of stuff like that. But when I'm with someone who's really famous, like super famous, then he'll snoot.
He's your best friend?
Yeah, he's like my best friend for that moment, you know, and I'm like, oh, you like me now. And I'm like, fine with that. Those are the rules of Hollywood, by the way.
Of course they are.
If you're successful, you know, we'll love you, and we'll love whoever's around you. And, you know,
it's true. So, is it, so you've always had this sort of thing. It sounds like that it was ingrained in you from your mom and dad. And I heard a story that you just like walked on the Paramount lot and like were looking for a job, and like you basically trespassed onto the lot and like wanted to get hired. Is that true?
It's true. I came out to California on the 27th of June, and my mom and dad gave me 2 weeks to become a movie star. And it seemed like enough time.
Mine gave me a year.
Oh, wow. You're lucky.
A year seems like luxury to 2 weeks.
Wow. You got 25 2 weeks. Wow. Pretty good that's cool. Yeah, I got 1 2 week period. And I just went crazy hustling. And I actually got a commercial, a Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial. But during that time, my godfather was a great actor named Michael Bell, who's one of my parents' best friends, let me stay with him. And he said, you know what, take my Pacer. He had this junky little car, which was great actually for me. And I drove around, he said, drive around to the studios and take a look and see what you can do. So I went to Paramount and all the studios, Universal, you know, Columbia, which is on the Warner Brothers lot, the Warner Brothers and MGM and every place. And I noticed at Paramount, and Paramount was like the mother to me of all studios. And I noticed that people were walking in and they were clocking in, they were waving to the guard, and they walked on. So I watched this for 2-3 days in my 2 week period. And I went to a store called Zodi's, which was a five and dime kind of place, like a Woolworth or, you know, Walmart type place. And no, actually it wasn't as nice as Walmart. And I got these little blank file cards. So I put on my bar mitzvah jacket, and my dad gave me a briefcase to bring out to California. And I walked up to the time clock. And I look over to the guard. He's looking at me. I take out my piece of paper and I punch it and I put it in. And I looked at the guard and I wave and I walked on the lot. And I was on the Paramount lot. And it was like Disneyland times a million. And I started walking around and I snuck onto the Happy Days set and sat right next to Henry Winkler.
Did you literally meet Henry Winkler, like just on the set you walked up?
No, I didn't. I just sat near him. I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. Have you met him since?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He's a happy person.
He is a happy person and a polite person.
Yes.
And a nice person. A really nice person.
Yes. Sorry, I interrupted you. So, okay. You go to the Happy Days set.
And then I went to a little house on the prairie. And then I started walking around. And like the third day I was there, I found this old building, which was empty, called the Lucille Ball Makeup Building. And it's a parking lot now. But I went up and down, and there were all these empty offices. And my dad was an electrical engineer. And I stayed there till like 2 a.m. every morning. So I went to there's a stage, which is the water stage, where they can fill up the stage with water and float a boat and all that. So I found a phone. They always had 2 or 3 phones, on the stands, as you know. So I took one of the phones off and I threw the receiver up and I got it caught in the window and I pulled it up and I put a phone in there. And then I went to what was Bing Crosby Productions in those days. And he was the first guy to start using golf carts as a way to get around the lot because he was a golfer.
Yeah, interesting.
So I took one of his golf carts at night, and before props closed, I went in there and I gave a phony requisition form, got furniture, brought it up to my office, and I had an office at Paramount. And I would sneak in every day for 2 weeks with my fake card, and I would go to my office and make phone calls. And there was a really big casting director that I would call his assistant from my phone and tell her to go to Happy Day set because they needed her. And then I would sneak on there and he would throw me out. And his name was Hoyt Bowers. And then finally he said, look, if you stop doing this, I'll give you 10 minutes and talk to you. And then my parents let me stay for another 2 months. And he told there was a casting director named Fran Bascom over at MTM. He called her and said, go over there and I jumped on his desk, by the way, and started like dancing on his desk. And he's like, you can't do that at her desk. And then I got my first, I had a one line in this movie called Roller Coaster. And then I got a little job in a TV movie and then I kept going. And then I kept the office for like 3 years.
Well, how is it that nobody realized that you just like commandeered an office at Paramount?
It was so cool. Well, there were no computers then. There were no cell phones then.
Right.
And people were more caring or they were more personal. And I'm sure there were people definitely at the commissary, they knew that I wasn't supposed to be there because you always had a little, most people didn't pay cash. They had like a card that they would punch, and I would always pay cash and they knew it, but they were like I ran it one day I was on the Western Street, the New York Street, and Faye Dunaway was doing a scene. And I told the operator at Paramount that I could get her a photograph of John Wayne signed. And I was standing around in my sport coat and she was angry about something and she thought that I worked at the studio. So she goes, come over here. And she had something to say. And I said, yeah, and I started talking to her and she goes, you don't work here, do you? And I said, no. She said, I won't tell anybody, but what are you doing here? I said, I'm trying to be an actor and, being around. And do you know John Wayne? And she's like, yeah. I go, could you get me picture of John Wayne? And she said, no, I can't. I'll give you a picture of me. I could sign it, but no. And I'm not going to give you John's the Duke's picture or whatever. So so I had an incredible amount of experiences there. I'd go to the sauna with Michael Landon and his crew and all the guys. And the first time I was in there with them, because I wanted to listen to what they were saying, I fainted because I'd never been in a sauna before. And I woke up and there was this football player who was in Little House on the Prairie. Forgot his name. Like bringing me back to life. And so I had, just had so many crazy experiences. I was there all night. There were no locks on the doors. I went through all the casting offices, all the executives' offices, looking through files and everything. Nothing was on a computer. It was all paper.
Oh my God.
And they were never locked, and people were cleaning. And I walk in with a sport coat going, I forgot a few things in my office. And the lady go, okay. And I'd sit at the desk, and just go through projects and stuff. It was crazy what I did. Crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely amazing. I feel like it's a movie.
Yeah. A lot of people have talked to me about it because it is really Horatio Alger and about the fun of Hollywood and getting your dreams done and doing the impossible and doing what you're not supposed to do. It was all of that. And I got really lucky, I got lucky that my story turned out this way, that we're talking and I have a career. Because there's so many people that, do all kinds of crazy things and don't get in. I did one crazy thing where I was going up for an audition for an Italian, to play an Italian guy.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
No.
Yeah. And I went in and I did the audition, and I remember the casting director said, you don't look at all like a mafioso guy, or, you have to leave. I'm not going to even listen to you. I went back to my godfather's house and Michael's house, and I took Vaseline and I put it in my hair. And I just greased my hair back, and I got a black leather jacket and all that. And I went back the next day when they were still auditioning for the commercial. And I went in there and I sort of pushed my way into the audition. And the casting director said, wait a minute, are you the same guy from yesterday? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, and she said, okay, I'll let you audition. I auditioned. I did not get the part. And for like a month, I had Vaseline in my hair.
Oh my God.
There are those stories. Of course, you have them too, where it doesn't work out. But
at what point did you sort of realize that you, not only did you know that you could do this, but that people were going to let you be an actor?
I would say
in Hollywood, because I know you were working before that.
I would say maybe when I was 30, I thought, I earned a place here. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to hire me, but I am a professional actor, and I have skills, and I have talent. And people might not think so. Some people might not, but there are enough people that do. And I'm allowed to be here. I'm entitled to compete. And I've won a few races. So I'm allowed to compete. I'm allowed to try. It's almost like when Andre Agassi was at the top of his game, and then he went to the bottom of his game, and he was playing in like third round tournaments around the country, trying to come back. And he was like, I'm allowed to compete. I'm allowed to try to come back. But I do think as an actor, I do look at my career and go, I have a career. Might be slow sometimes, might be fast sometimes, but I have a career and I'm proud of what I've done. But I do think because you go from job to job, the insecurity of it, like most of my friends are retiring. Like I have friends who are radiologists and lawyers that at the age of 65, you're compelled by the rule of the law firm to retire.
Yeah.
You can't practice anymore. You can go open up your own practice, but at this firm, you're done at 65.
Yeah.
But so I'm still going. And I have friends who are retiring and fishing and golfing. So I still do deal with the anxiety of not working but I don't have the imposter syndrome anymore. I think I did, but I don't have it anymore. I do think I'm the real thing. Whether you like me or not, whether you think I'm a Ferrari or you think I'm an Edsel, whatever you think, I am the real thing. Because I do my work, and I have done my work, and I have won some races, and I did win the Super Bowl. So no matter what you think, maybe it was lucky that I caught that pass and that one guy, fell down before he got me. Fine, I was lucky, but I still got the touchdown.
You know what, though? The first one, people can say the first one is luck, not 30 years of it. I think that's the thing that I remind myself because every career goes like this. It doesn't matter when you're at the top, you're going to be down again. It may be a different down than it was 20 years ago, but it's going to go down. That's the way it goes. And I remind myself of that as it's sort of riding these waves of that it's not a fluke anymore. The first little bit could have been, but now I've earned this. You've earned this. This is just a very, very long marathon. And you got a hamstring pull halfway through, but you're still going. And you could win. You have no idea. It's a very, very long career. And I love that we get to do it until we don't want to do it anymore because someone's got to play it, Grandma.
Yeah. That's right. Why not you? Why not you? Why not you? It's like, why not? Why not? Don't make a case against yourself. Let them do that. You're not doing that. You're like, I can. I remember a few years ago, Tiger Woods went all through a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And then he came back and won the Masters again after really being put through the mill. And he was like, yeah, I can. And there's just so many examples of that in so many different ways. Look at Brendan Fraser.
Oh my God.
Brendan has always been a great actor.
Yep.
And had a really slow period and was upstate New York with his sons and, trying to do what he could do. And then he got cast in The Whale.
Yeah. He had a long, slow period.
Yeah.
There was a long, slow period where, and this is the difference. So many people would have in that situation just said, well, I'm not an actor anymore because I'm not working. If you're not working, you're not an actor. You're just unemployed, which is, I've been guilty of saying that, but that's not the truth. If you think you're an actor, you're an actor. And that's the thing. Right. And then you're staying in the conversation. And that's what Brendan did. I remember seeing him at a convention about 4 months, 6 months, I'm guessing now, before The Whale came out, but people were talking about it.
Right.
And I remember thinking, he's at sci-fi conventions. Wow.
Right.
I hadn't seen him in years. And then he was at sci-fi conventions. And then now he's no longer at sci-fi conventions.
Right.
But he could be back. He could be back. He could be sitting next to me again. Who knows?
Of course, because he's like, whoa, man, nothing's going on. I just got an offer for some nice money to go to, Calgary and do a convention. Let's go.
I know, right?
Yeah,
And that's a gift
everybody.
too, man. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Coffee commercial. Yeah. A ham commercial. Yeah. Opening up a supermarket in Des Moines, and they want to throw some big money at you.
Yeah.
What time do I leave? Where do you want me?
Yeah. I say that to so many actors all the time, that your imagination is the only thing holding you back. Like,
that's great.
You could be anything.
That's
you
right.
could go do,
That's great.
I don't know, if the local children's theater here had a good script and we're like, hey, Katee, would you go do this? I'd be like, absolutely. Let's go do that for a second. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. That and movement, engagement. I saw a great interview with Michael Kellam, who said that he did tons of bad movies. He said, I did a ton of crap, but I wanted to work. And I knew that like Jaws 4 was going to be fucking horrible. But you know what? I wanted to work and I wanted to stay in the game. And I thought, well, if I keep working, maybe I'll get something good and I'll be like all oiled up and, used to getting up at 5 a.m. every morning and like be great on the next show. But right now it's Jaws 4. And,
someone's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it. I remember he had another great line. They said, have you seen Jaws 4? And he said, well, no, I haven't. But I have seen the house that it bought for my mother.
Yeah.
And it's very nice.
See?
That's it.
100%. It's perspective.
Yeah.
Just got to change your perspective.
Yeah, so much.
This has been I could literally talk to you forever, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but this has just been so wonderful to talk to you. And
me too.
It's just been great. And I'm glad that you had fun with your movie and that it was what you wanted it to be. That's a great feeling. So
it is. And you don't get that many of them unless you're lucky to get on a streak.
Yeah.
So it's a great feeling. And thank you for bringing it up. And thank you for having me on your show. And thank you for your graciousness to my time zone problem. And you're so gracious and so wonderful. And I wish you and your kids and your husband, your family, your friends a great summer. And I hope that we get to work together someday.
I would love that, because we could just annoy the shit out of people with our positivity. They would be like,
yes,
get Steve and Katee the fuck out of here.
Yes.
And then we'd go home early.
We'll go home early and then we'll start turning a few of them. A few of them might become like traitors and go, I think I'm going on the happy side right now.
Right?
Oh, really?
Like, why do I feel warm and fuzzy in my tummy? And we'd be like, we got him.
Well, it does happen, when you kind of like keep on knocking at the door, they're like, then they get like happy too.
I know.
And it's like, you're kind of like thinking they're going to like shun you every time. But then you come in with your happy thing of like, good morning. And they're like, good morning. You're like, oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so it begins. My husband, when we first started like dating and lived together, he was like, I don't know how to handle you in the morning, because he would wake up and I would be like, hi, what are we doing today? And he was like, I can't handle it. But now he loves it, because like I'm the one up at 5 o'clock with the kids, and I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
so, I don't know.
It's great to live that way. It's great.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, I really appreciate you. It's nice to meet a kindred spirit. So
same here.
Absolutely.
So glad. So we're on the same team. Great to be on your team.
All right. Have a phenomenal rest of your summer as well. Don't melt in the heat.
Oh, it's easy. My doctor said I have a peasant body. I pick potatoes at 0 degrees. I pick potatoes at 120 degrees. No problem.
All right. Bye. Nice to meet you.
Bye-bye. Same here, Katee.
Bye.
Bye-bye, darling.
Hey, everybody. So glad you're here and you stuck around for the Hindsight. As usual, I'm going to say what I always say. I'm still Katee Sackhoff, as if I'm some lame mom joke person, which I am. But also, Jeph Hi.
Hi, I'm still Jeph.
You're still Jeph, but now with a Jeff?
No, definitely not. I'm committed to spelling my name the way I spell it.
Well, you probably should. You probably should stick with it. You were not involved in this episode recording.
That's right. I was away at a wedding when this came up, and we had some scheduling issues, which you talk a little bit about on the episode itself. But yeah, when it was finally able to happen, I was unfortunately away. So
yeah, Steve. We had him scheduled like 2 weeks before, right? And you and I were sort of waiting, and we were like, "Where's Steve?" And then ultimately it was this weird thing that we talk about a little bit, like you said, in that he was on the East Coast and his brain sort of goes, am I in Arizona? Am I, you know, in California? And he's sort of like all over the place, having traveled a bunch, but also promoting the movie that he was talking about.
Which you never mentioned the name of the movie that he's promoting.
It's probably because it had already aired.
Yeah.
And it was, we had originally scheduled him to promote it, and it was called Kidnapped by a Killer, the Heather Robinson story, and it was on Lifetime. He came on to promote it, and then ultimately it had already aired. So we didn't have the opportunity to actually talk about it. But he was really proud of his performance. And as an actor, I can really identify with when you give everything to a character, trying to make yourself disappear as a character actor, and, being proud of ultimately the performance. So I know he's really proud of that. And I love to see that.
Yeah, I think he talked a lot about his transformation in that, and it is interesting. I don't know if you saw a picture of it or not, but I have it here. Let me just. That's his transformation there for the character he plays, and it is pretty.
He's a bad dude.
Yeah, he's a bad dude. I think he enjoyed the process of becoming that character, which it is interesting because if you're Steve Guttenberg and you're such a really well-known guy, and he is well-known for a certain sort of like, the vibe that he had on the interview, he's just very bubbly and happy and everything. And I think that comes across in his body of work. And then if you're going to play a bad guy, you can't just look like Steve Guttenberg.
You can't look like Steve Guttenberg. I had a crush on Steve Guttenberg when I was growing up.
He's a handsome man.
Yeah. And such a wonderful personality. I love the fact that he was like, people sometimes hate me because I'm so positive.
Yeah. Which I
get that.
He told a story where he dropped a very specific reference, and I don't know if you picked up on it or if you're familiar with this, but he's talking about not getting cast because he's too bubbly, too likable, and how other actors have gotten the role because they're more broody or mean or whatever. And he specifically, I don't remember the exact words that he said, but he said something like, the guy who found out that his sister was his mother, but his mother is his sister.
Yeah.
Do you think that he's talking about Jack Nicholson? Do you know the Jack Nicholson thing?
No, I don't know the Jack Nicholson thing. I mean,
Jack Nicholson
it sounded like it was something I was just like, oh yeah, we all know that person. What happened with Jack Nicholson?
Well, he found out years later in his life that who he thought was his sister his whole life was his mother.
It was his mother, that's right. That's right, and his grandparents raised him, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And he thought his grandparents were his parents, but it makes me wonder if Steve Guttenberg lost out on a role to Jack Nicholson, which is entirely possible. It's
entirely possible. Same time frame, right?
Yeah. And just now I'm like, well, what was it?
Right? But also like Jack Nicholson is like, do you remember Jack Nicholson ever playing like the fun-loving good guy?
I mean, I think the closest he comes is like About Schmidt, or Anger Management in a way. He's kind of
what was that movie called? Like, not She's All That, but with Diane Keaton.
Yeah. What was that called? I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
He was like charming in that.
Yeah. It's like a romantic comedy that he was in.
Yeah.
But he was like older with it. As good as it. Or no, something's got to give.
That one.
Yeah,
that one. That was like the first time where he'd like played like leading romantic guy, right?
I mean, I guess.
Anyway.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yes.
But it's just so funny because you don't think of Jack Nicholson and Steve Guttenberg as the same type.
You don't. So I wonder if it was that. We'll never know.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it was As Good as It Gets. I mean, that seems like a movie that Guttenberg would be perfect for. It certainly wasn't like Batman. I don't think Guttenberg playing the Joker would have been. I mean, maybe now that I think about it.
Dance with the Devil in the Pale Moonlight?
Yeah, I mean, I would be more freaked out if Steve Guttenberg said that to me in an alley than if Jack Nicholson said that to me in an alley.
One you see coming. It's true.
Yeah.
I had a mad crush on, God, I had a crush on everyone growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But there was something about Jack Nicholson in that You Ever Dance with the Devil in the Pale Moonlight, when he said that was so attractive.
The phrase I always say from Batman, the original, is when he, in the story, he's working for Jack Palance plays the like gangster guy that he's working for, and then he like kills him later, and Jack Nicholson says to him, he goes, "You're my number one guy." Because that's what he said to him earlier. And
Jeph, that was really good.
Yeah.
That was really good.
It's just so...
what was it like? Because now you were literally a viewer in this because you weren't here for it. Listening to him talk about fucking sneaking onto the Paramount lot and like living there.
First off, what's going on with Paramount? Because that's the same studio that Ron Moore, handed a script to and got on. Like Paramount has just opened doors, apparently.
I mean, shit was crazy back in the day when you could just walk on a lot for like a tour and they didn't check all your bags and your belongings and your license.
I've been on lots that I'm supposed to be on and I'm allowed to be on, and I feel like I'm not supposed to be there.
100%.
I'm afraid I'm going to get kicked out.
I know. Every time I go onto the Disney lot, I'm always like, everyone's sort of looking at you like, why the fuck are you here?
Yeah, you want to be like, I'm sorry, I'll leave.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, the cool kids belong here. Copy that.
Yeah,
Copy
but that story is...
I'll go back to Universal.
It takes Ron's story and just like stomps on it. And it actually reminded me of Steven Spielberg has a similar story about Universal. However, I did a little research and I think Steven Spielberg was sort of lying about his story a little bit. But Spielberg's story is that he was on a tour, a Universal Studio tour in the 60s, like probably around the same time that Steve, maybe a few years before, because I think that story probably happened in like the early 70s that Steve was talking about. Yeah, because
Spielberg's in his 70s and Guttenberg's in his 60s, right?
Right. So it was 10 years difference, but Spielberg's story is he was on a tour and then during a bathroom break on the tour, he just wandered off and met a guy who wrote him a pass. And then very similar to Steve's story, just he had a briefcase in his suit jacket and he just started walking onto the lot and found an office and just started using this office. However, the research I did, that story is apparently apocryphal. Like Steven Spielberg's parents knew a guy in the editing department at Universal that got him on the lot, and then Steven would just sneak back onto the lot to like hang out with this guy that he knew already, and eventually got a job working on the lot.
Embellished a little,
but it is interesting that there is this sort of lore that, in like the 60s and 70s and apparently the 80s with Ron Moore, you could just show up on the...
walk on the lot.
Yeah. Although Ron was on a tour, so maybe they had clamped down a little bit by the 80s. But.
Yeah, they were like, you're no longer allowed to pull a Guttenberg. Is what we talk. That's what we call it in the business these days.
I mean, he really, his is just insane.
It's insane. And the fact that like, I don't know. The fact that like, he got, I don't know. It's just so strange to me.
Yeah.
Because like he literally takes, the thing that we've talked about with stunt doubles, how they literally like, this is what they do when they network.
Yeah.
They like show up on sets and they're like, this is my resume. This is this and that.
Yeah.
And that to me is crazy.
Yeah.
Then you Guttenberg the shit out of it and you're like, I'm just going to stay.
You go up to Faye Dunaway and ask her if you can get John Wayne's like autograph. Yeah.
It just like
my favorite part of that story is she just goes, no.
I loved it. What I also loved is that he was propping out his office. Like he's like, I got a phone, I got a this.
Just the audacity of being young and dumb, you know?
It's true, but it's what I've always said about this business, though. This is a young person's game in the sense that you can't have life experience and succeed in this industry because life experience is, it makes you inhibited. It gives you fear. It sort of like holds you back because now you have these adult attributes that are like, no, I know better. I'm not supposed to do that. When you're a kid and you don't know any better, you get this blissful ignorance of youth to just be like, fuck it. What's the worst that could happen?
It's funny because I feel a bit like me personally, it's the opposite.
Oh.
Like when I was younger, I felt like I was such a rule follower and so afraid to step over any lines and anything. But as I've gotten older and gotten more experience, I've sort of realized how a lot of those rules are just sort of fake and made up. You know, and now I'm more apt, like I think now I would be more apt to walk onto Paramount and find an office and make it my own versus when I was, 20 or something.
Now you don't give two fucks?
Yeah, I'm just like, what are they going to do?
What are they going to do?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now they would arrest me. That's what would happen now. They would arrest you.
His phone was cracking me up the entire time because I was literally thinking to myself, when he showed up, Jeff's going to fucking kill me.
Well, let's see how well we've done. I listened to it. I haven't watched it yet. I just listened to it. That's sort of my ritual now when we do these hindsights is I wake up in the morning, I take my dog on a walk, I make my coffee, I take my dog on a walk, and I listen to the episode and I write down notes as I'm listening.
Well, you should start listening to it while you're making your coffee since that takes 20 minutes.
I have a routine now, okay?
Oh God!
This morning I didn't have any coffee, actually beans at home, so I had to walk to a coffee shop. So a little more time.
Fancy.
Yeah, I know. Fancy that I'm so fancy that I walk to a coffee shop.
It's true.
But
very true.
But yeah, I listened to it, and just the audio portion of it, it's pretty dicey. So I'm interested to see how the video works out. He sounds like he's moving around a lot.
He sits in one chair the entire time. What Guttenberg movie do you remember growing up that was like, oh yeah, I fucking love that movie?
I mean, 3 Men and a Baby is really the one that I know the most. It seems really crazy for me to say this, but I've never seen any of the Police Academy movies. I know.
Have you seen Short Circuit?
I believe I have, but I don't really remember it.
Have you seen Cocoon?
Yes, I've seen Cocoon.
Have you seen Cocoon?
I've seen Cocoon. I don't know what movie you're talking about.
I just I just pronounce things oddly these days, like completely
Cocoon?
wrong.
Yeah.
So all three of those guys are like still with us. I feel like we should do a movie about grandpas.
Yeah. I mean, I know they already did a 3 Men and a Baby sequel.
They did 3 Men and a Little Girl.
Yeah. It would be interesting to see 3 grandpas. Yeah. I think.
Like if she gets married, now she's getting married.
Yeah.
Or she's having a baby and they've got to babysit their grandkids.
Who's the third in that? It's Steve, Ted Danson, and
Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck, right. Tom Selleck. Yeah, I mean, Blue Bloods has been canceled. Tom Selleck is ready for some work.
You guys, I feel like this is a great thing. You want to know what it's like? It's like my daughter, Here Comes the Bride. Mm-hmm. This is just it's taking this, it's literally making it like all we're missing is Martin Short. I feel like this is what we need to do. The daughter got married. She's having a baby. She drops the kid off. Mm-hmm. And now you've got these grandpas babysitting a baby again.
All right. Well, why don't you ask your agent to find out who has the rights?
And then produce it?
And then you produce it. Robin can write it. And then it can be your first directorial debut. I'll produce it. You can direct it.
Can you imagine? The three of them, Tom Selleck, Ted Danson, Steve Guttenberg, 3 grandpas and a baby.
3 grandpas and a baby. Yeah, because then that's the thing. She has a kid. Because how old would the daughter be? When did that? We're doing some crazy math.
She would be about 10 years younger than me.
Because she was a baby. The movie came out in 87.
Okay, and I was 7 when the movie came out. Makes complete sense. I watched it when it came out. So she's 7 years younger than I am, which means that she's 37. So she could have a baby.
She could have multiple babies, or the whole storyline could just be, she's one of those like women who never thinks it's going to happen for her, and then late in her 30s, she finally has a baby.
Yeah.
We wrote it already. Get Robin in here.
She could also have just in vitroed it and had a baby on her own because she was tired of fucking waiting. She's a single mom. Yeah. There's so many things that we could do. She could have had, she's got twins. Three grandpas and twins.
There you go. That's how it works. Yeah. Just keep this franchise going.
Why not? Why not?
Do you think anybody that's younger than us remembers this movie?
No.
Yeah. So
hold on. Robin?
You can ask him.
Robin? I have a question for you on camera. He's coming.
Oh, shit. You know who directed that movie?
Who?
Leonard Nimoy. That's crazy.
We talked about this in the Leonard Nimoy. I have a question for you.
Talk about this.
Oh, I called you. Were you just putting him down? Oh, sorry. I have a question. He looks so... I said I have a question for you on camera. Oh. Have you seen Three Men and a Baby?
Long time ago.
But you've seen it?
Long time.
So someone younger than us does know about Three Men and a Baby.
Yeah, of course.
Someone younger than us and someone who's taking care of a baby right now and is like, what do you want?
He's like, what the fuck do you want? Why did you call me? I feel like we need to... He
was in the bath.
Oh, he was pooping. We need to get the rights and produce Three Grandpas and a Baby.
You're fine. Picture your dad and my dad trying to take care of a baby.
See, this is my point. It'd be hysterical.
Yeah.
That was the only thing.
You called me for?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Good to see you, Jeph.
I don't even see you, but
he says I don't even see you. Oh my God. I thought that he was like right there.
I love that. We're literally like pie in the sky spitballing, and there's literally a man taking care of a baby, and we're like, hey, come talk to us about him.
All right, we should get into the mail sack so we can move this thing along.
Mail sack. We're going to the mail sack. Mail sack. Why are we calling it mail sack?
We've got a lot of Patreon questions that I want to get into, and we're going to get into it in the Patreon. And the reason is because I inadvertently yesterday pulled questions for my Ask Me Anything in Patreon, which we do a lot, you guys, if you're not a patron member. By a lot, I do mean we've done this twice. I do mean to do this more. And I pulled from the wrong section. So I've got a lot of AMAs still available.
Well, we have to record another video.
We will. I might do it before I leave town and get another one up there. So this is comments on which episode?
So Carrie just came out. Carrie Ann Moss just came out. Not Carrie the movie. Carrie Ann Moss, our episode just came out when we're recording this.
Yes, it did.
Sorry, never going to stick around for the producer and you to talk about what I just saw and heard. If you like that, become a talking head on the news.
Jeph, I literally read this to Robin when we were on a walk this morning. And then I looked up this person.
Yeah. Oh, we're doing Katie's Claws section right now, by the way.
What?
This is our Katie's Claws section.
This is the Katie's Claws section. Yeah. So this person has actually left comments on a few of our episodes. Mm-hmm. And one of them was on the Brent Spiner episode and said, enjoyed, but worn out on actors talking about the perils of being an actor. And then on the Brendan Wayne episode, basically talks about how he doesn't want to pay for anything that's streaming because all the good things to watch are on free television. So anyway.
Katie Claus.
Katie Claus.
That's the theme song.
This is a fun one. Carrie Ann really shines in her awareness of gratitude and allowing that humanness. She seems so humble. When I hear that she reflects on not having the total ego as a success, it reminds me a lot of the words I heard about how Keanu had self-reflection instead of this overbearing movie star. That to me makes it larger than life. It's easy to shoot from the hip, but to go into detail and absorb that vulnerability is a legend of character and continuity, in my opinion. I agree with that.
Yeah.
You know, Keanu has that in spades. He's such a humble dude.
Yeah, it is interesting how similar they are, and they're both the leads of that franchise. They're both.
I wonder
just
if they were
chill.
always that way.
Yeah.
Or if they rubbed off on each other. It's been like 30 years, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It is interesting because I feel like Keanu's always kind of at least been portrayed as that dude. I don't know. I obviously
he's
don't know
always
him
been
personally.
stoned.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know
he's
for sure.
Ted from
Don't
Bill
quote
and
me on
Ted,
that.
you know? I mean, he's always just been that guy, you know? So I don't
He
know.
seems like he's always been super, super, super chill. And she is very, very, very chill, which is one of the things that I really loved about it. And yeah, I was just intimidated as fuck. You guys know that. We talked about it already on her
Sure.
Hindsight.
Somebody here said that you were the coolest girl at the party, because we talked about how she felt like somebody you want to be friends with, and she's like the coolest girl at the party. And she said, Wex Wuther. Oh, I get it. Wex Wuther 1776 said, "Hey, Katee and Jeph, I hope you guys are having an ad fab summer. By the way, Katee is the coolest girl at the party."
Aw, sweet, sweet, sweet. Someone just asked if Grace Park's ever going to come on the show. We've talked about this a bit. You know, Gracie agreed to come on, and then ultimately changed her mind. And I completely respect this. You know what I mean? This is Zon McLaren did the same thing, and I love Zon. Very, very private people. This is not the show where you come on just to promote the project that you're doing.
Right.
This is where I'm gonna, whether you like it or not, get you to talk about yourself just because I want you to. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to be mean or malicious in any sense of the way. I just want to talk about you. I think this is Carey Ann was a perfect example of this. Yeah. Guttenberg's a perfect example of this. You know what I mean? Like, I love your work. I want to talk about your work, but I'm so intrigued by who you are as a person that if you only want to talk about your work, this is not the show for you.
Right. And we've seen
not that Carey Ann wanted to do that, but
Yeah. And I think people realize that. I mean, I think you've done enough press in your life for your career that how many times have you been sitting in front of another reporter having to talk about the same thing over and over again? And then if they ask you like a personal question or an interesting question, you're like, oh, okay. Yeah.
That's the crazy thing, right? Is that like as much as I like don't talk about specifics of like who my kids are and like, like I don't show pictures of them and things. I love talking about my kids. I love talking about my life. I love because that's what intrigues me, like I enjoy my life. Like my work is just an aspect of it. I like talking about life. I've got chickens and like, my dog is an asshole and like things like that. And so I love when people ask me that kind of stuff,
Yeah. I think it works out. So
yeah. So Grace probably not going to come on the show. Anytime
never
soon.
say never.
We don't have a ton of emails and stuff right now, you guys, just because
Well, I've got one here.
Oh, okay, go for it.
This is from Allison, not my Allison, but it's another random Allison. It says, "Hi, Katee. The Hindsight, you've been asking for listeners to send in questions.
Yeah.
Firstly, I wanted to say that I listen to your show and walking the dogs, and I always listen to the Hindsight. I am one of those two people.
Yes.
I think, I hope it's more than two at this point, but I feel like there was a period where we would joke about that.
We did joke about that.
My question is this: have you ever been asked, or would you consider doing The Masked Singer? And if so, what would your costume be? I love the show. Hopefully, you'll come to a convention in Scotland sometime soon. Thanks, Alice."
Right. So you guys, I would have before they started like having people like Adele on. You know what I mean?
That's not the direction I thought you were going to go. I thought you were going to say Rudy Giuliani or something. But
no, like who did they just have on that was like,
I am not.
she's like a professional singer. It's like not
Yeah.
even, oh, you know who it is? I went down a rabbit hole of the woman who plays Elsa on Broadway. Samantha Barks. So let me look her up. Samantha.
I mean, the winners, I'm looking at just the winners of the American version, and I see where your concern is. It's like T-Pain, Leanne Rimes, Nick
Thank you.
Lacey, Jewel.
Thank you. Thank you.
Vanessa
So-
Hudgens, Boys to Men.
Are we going to show, can we show this right now? If someone posted on social media, we can, right?
Yeah, or we could just show it in the
Patreon?
Patreon section, yeah.
We'll talk about it in the Patreon. We're going to show Samantha Barks, the Masked Singer literal performance. You guys, it's insane. So no, I would not. Like, can Katee carry a tune? Yeah, I can sing. Am I Leanne fucking Rimes? In no planet am I Leanne Rimes. Leanne Rimes is gorgeous. She's phenomenal. I follow her on social media. She's a wonderful human being. And so talented. It's insane.
Let's just pretend that you have gotten on for one variety of a reason or not. They've paid you enough money or whatever. What would your costume be?
Oh my God. Oh my Lord. My favorite animal at the zoo is the bats.
The bats? Okay, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Because they're so fucking weird.
They are weird.
They're all upside down. So
was
it just discombobulated. You just go, I'm like, what is happening?
I was just in Ojai for the holiday weekend. I don't know if you've been to Ojai before.
No,
but
I've never been to
just-
Ojai.
There's just bats everywhere there, just like flying around at night.
You want bats because they get rid of the mosquitoes.
Yes, that's true. Are you having a problem with your pronunciations today? Because I got to say, that's not how you say that word.
I don't know, Jeph. There's a few words that you pronounce your Chicago slang. That's
I'm sorry.
wait, what?
Is that the Pacific Northwest way of saying it? Mosquitoes?
Mosquitoes. All right, you guys, we're going to say goodbye to you because I really want to look at Samantha Barks' version of her song. And so we're going to go into the Patreon. We're also going to talk about a social media post that I just posted that I want to talk about a bit in the Patreon. We're going to talk about some fun stuff I've just learned about Carey. And then we're going to...
some more Steve Guttenberg, too.
A lot more Steve Guttenberg. We're going to look at some 3 Minute Baby because I need to see that.
Yeah, for those of you that love it when the producer and her talk about the episode they just listened to, we're going to talk about it some more.
All right, you guys, we will see you next Tuesday, and that's what's up.